Honestly, I don't get any response from the students. So I get tired of speaking to a wall. What I see is some names, and I do not know people are behind those names or not. They've gone off to sleep, or they're still there paying attention because I don't get any response. What do I do? What do you tell me? What is the solution to this problem? Okay, switch on your videos and start sharing your screen so that we can start with our discussion without wasting any more. So, while I'm discussing with who's the person? Anushka?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, while I'm discussing with Anushka, I want everybody to write the characteristic in slightly bigger point size so that it's visible to me all the time. I don't need to ask you again and again. It should be visible to me. Is it possible to increase the size and zoom in a little? Slightly more? Slightly more, yeah, stay. Okay. So, yeah. So, what is the characteristic? Is it possible for you to enlarge that? I mean, as in write it in a bigger point size? No, ma'am. Actually, Anushka have to do that. I'm Kriti sharing on her behalf. So, Anushka just say the characteristics.
Ma'am, my words are and calm.
Can't hear you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Ma'am, my words are cute and calm.
There can't be two words. It can't be cute and calm. You either take cute or you take calm. Is this the first class that you are attending? Anushka?
No, ma'am.
Then what happened? We've had so many discussions where I've been saying that the second characteristic, if you want to take, it will come at a later stage, not immediately. Good morning, Nandini ma'am. Yeah, good morning, Nandini ma'am.
Good morning.
So I have just completed my attendance, and after a general briefing, there were some students who are lagging behind. Some students have really moved ahead in the assignment, and so I'm taking those students who are at an initial stage of the assignment. So I'll just quickly brief you about what they are doing. They were asked to take a partner in the class and analyze the characteristics of that partner and take one dominant characteristic and start developing a monogram around that.
Okay.
So, I already briefed the class about you, and I told them that you would be joining the class from today. So, the class is aware. So, right now, what I'm doing is I'm looking at is this Kriti's work or Anushka's work?
Ma'am, this is Anushka's work. I'm sharing on behalf of her.
Okay, so I'm looking at Anushka's work, and Anushka is at a very initial stage, and I asked them to stick to one characteristic because the second characteristic will come into play maybe at some later stage, but not at the moment. So she is looking at cute and calm. So I was just telling her that you stick to one characteristic. Either you stick to cute and do your explanations, or you stick to calm and do your explanations. Not mix two characteristics because the visual representations will vary with the characteristics. So this is what she's presenting at the moment. These are very initial explanations, and I am also seeing this for the first time. I think, Anushka, you've not shown your work before.
Yes, ma'am, I sent you mail about this.
So mails are not going to be attended to because it's very difficult to respond on the mail. We can't say, because whatever we can speak in 5 minutes, it will take us 1 hour to write the same mail. Right? It's very difficult to communicate over the mail. So try and be present in the class and try and take feedback. If you're lagging behind, you have to tell us that I'm behind in the class and I need more inputs. You schedule a meeting with us so that we can give you feedback.
I'm going with calm,
Okay.
and in first exploration, I tried to show calmness and a flow.
Okay. So which one do you think is according to you you want to go ahead with? Which one do you think you want to go ahead with?
In white boxes, the third one.
Third one. And why?
Actually, it's very like it,
You'll have to be louder, Anushka. Can't hear you.
ma'am, because there is more flow that was in there.
What else? What is it that you like about this form that you want to go ahead with? How does it represent calmness for you?
Because this is going with the flow and with the waves, like
Have you done it on Illustrator or have you done this with hand?
with hand.
Did you take any typeface as a foundation for this?
No, ma'am.
This is freehand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, Anushka, if you first of all you should be able to articulate why it is calm. How is the form communicating calmness to you? How is the composition communicating calmness to you? You have to be able to articulate that. You think about it because in any case, whatever form that you take, eventually you have to give a write up. Why it is calm for you? How is it interacting with space that it creates a calm environment? How's the typeface calm? How's the stroke or the way to communicating calmness? So all of these visual characteristics you have to explain how it is aligning with your your core idea. So you should be able to articulate that. Okay. So like I've been telling other students that if this is what you are going to start with, the second or the third, okay, the couple of things that you need to keep in mind. The identity of both the alphabets should not be lost in the sense that anybody who's looking at it should be at some level be able to decipher it as K and M. Okay, and another thing is that you need to now, if this is your parent form, if you were to evolve it further, right? For example, if you were to see if the waves which are forming in the beginning and the end, if these waves were longer or shorter or starting from above K or ending the wave after M is ending before I mean a point where it is ending now. So all these explorations now and stroke thickness, weight of the alphabets, all these things you have to take one master form and start exploring to see how this form will evolve.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so take the second one. And the the third one that you are saying. But you need to explore more because you only have one option at the moment.
Yes, ma'am.
So you need to explore more because you're lagging far behind. It's very, very important that you speed up because the class has now started moving towards the refinement of their forms. You are only at the developmental stage.
Okay.
Okay, so Nandini ma'am, I briefed her, gave feedback to her just to make you aware of how we are going about the assignment. So I'm just leaving it to you now. As in, you can also give Anushka feedback.
No, I think you've covered most of it. So I think let her do as many alternatives as she can. The second and third are, but the third one shows a little more movement. Though it's a calm movement, it shows more movement. So maybe let her try if she can differentiate these two. I mean, it's a movement, but it's a calm movement. So calmness is generally more stillness. So how could she attempt that? That's one thing she could try. I mean, to look at calmness a little more closely. And I think otherwise you've covered all of it. I mean, that's
So,
the one thing.
okay. So, Anushka, ma'am is saying that you explore the third one as well. You understood the brief?
Yes, ma'am.
You understood the feedback that ma'am gave you?
Yes, ma'am.
What did ma'am tell you? Can you just reiterate for me?
Yes, ma'am. She wants that in the third one there was more like movement was creating.
There is a stillness, and ma'am is saying that the stillness and calmness sometimes goes together.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there is more movement, say, in the other two, but there is a calmness and stillness in the third one. That's the feedback. Please just pay attention, okay, and understand because this will help you understand these small little nuances which make a difference to your composition. Pay attention, Anushka. You're really behind schedule.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you taking notes?
Yes, ma'am. I do.
Okay. So towards the end of the day, me and ma'am would like to see as many explorations as possible. So you have like these three. So second and third are on similar lines. So you essentially have two master forms which you have to evolve further.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
My name is Devanshi, and my partner was Priyas Dhoni. So the trait that I took was affectionate. So the first one I tried to make like a flowy type. Um, then the second one, I tried kind of incorporating the S in P. And the third one, I tried to make like a tangle type.
Priyal, your name is Priyal?
Tony.
Okay. Priyal, affectionate you're saying, no?
Ma'am, my name is Devanshi, my partner is Priyal.
Okay, Devanshi, you have taken affectionate trait.
Yes.
So, which ones do you think are working and why?
I think this one,
Mark it, you can mark it, no?
this one,
Okay,
and I really like this one too.
okay. These are all original ideas and you've not copied anything from internet, right?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, good. And why do you think they are affectionate? They
Because
represent affection.
yeah, it makes kind of feel like S is wrapping around P.
Okay. And
And this one I really like because it was kind of bigger and round type.
Okay. So, see, again, the same feedback for you. You should be able to articulate why this form is representing affection. You should be able to say that and convince us because maybe we are not able to see it. Okay?
Okay,
It's
ma'am.
very important you think about it. See, the reason why these are being put one after the other is so that you're able to compare one with the other and see it all together. When we are in the class, we put these all on the softboard and then we look at it from a distance and analyze it. You have to do the same here on the concept board. Okay. Or if you have a softboard at home, you can put all your infos one next to the other and see which form is working and why it is working. But spend some time with your work thinking about it, reflecting about it. Because sometimes we are not able to see. Sorry, ma'am? Yeah.
Yeah, no, you complete. Then I just would like
No,
to.
that's all right. It's all right, ma'am. You can
I
take.
feel the ones that she's selected don't have the quality of affection. Maybe it would be a good idea if you look up the characteristic that you've chosen in the dictionary, look for synonyms, and see this one has a kind of aggression to it. It's doesn't have so you don't know. See, clinging, wrapping around, clinging, and affection. Those you must be able to distinguish between those subtle emotions, which is easy, say in real life, but in the letter form also that should come true. This second one may be interesting as bigger ground, but it doesn't have the characteristic of affection. To me, the maximum potential seems to be in number this first sketch of yours, because somewhere it also subconsciously forms a heart form. I mean, so that also is something that you could explore. Look at the ones you like and see if you can get it to what you want to say. But first, don't think of the think of, does the form communicate what I am trying to communicate? Not just I like this form or like that form.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am, some of these forms which are interesting visually, so even if they are not going with the characteristic, I'm still telling them to explore just for the sake of understanding how visuals will evolve if they add and eliminate some small parts of it. So for that reason, if you agree with me, we could ask her to explore this one, two, three, four, fifth idea, which is also marked on in the first
Yeah.
row.
Okay.
Just,
An
just
interesting
to,
form.
yeah, just to explore that if she makes subtle changes in P's and the S's, sometimes those changes will probably take it closer to affection than wrapping around, and the feeling will change as the typeface, the letters change, as in the letter forms will change.
Yeah, maybe the thicknesses
So,
and all she
yes,
changes, the white
yes, yes,
spaces she
yes,
puts that, then it's an
yes.
interesting form otherwise.
Yes, yes. So for that reason, I thought it is a good idea to explore this. And also the second last in the last row. Okay, where there is an S and a P. So here also this will become your parent form. Okay, these will become your parent forms, and then you will experiment with different weights, different letter forms. Okay, you will see maybe if it is put in the right now this is positive space, and if you put a say square behind it and this form is coming out in the negative space, then what happens? So for you to understand, I want you to do a lot of explorations. So take these as your master forms and start building on them. And also with the one which ma'am said, the first one in the first row, take all these and start exploring now.
Okay,
But you should, like, have you done that? Like ma'am also pointed out, have you done this? The entire class has looked at the meaning of the word, the synonyms of the word, and also written a paragraph about how this particular characteristic uh, is aligning with the person that your partner in terms of some anecdotes that you have to write down which suggest this characteristic or some phrases, when you write down you will come up with some phrases, some synonyms which will help you in visual articulation. Have you done that?
yes, ma'am. I thought of caring
So
type.
So basically, when you are doing that, you don't have to write all other characteristics. You have to basically expand on one characteristic that you're choosing.
Okay.
Okay, so if you are, because if you don't do this, then you will be very lost. This is just to understand the meaning of this word that you have selected and how it aligns with this person. So some anecdotes, some when you're writing, it will help you expand on this idea, and then it will then later translate into visuals. So if you have not done that, do that properly so that you have a better understanding of this word, of this trait. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So I, Nandina, you want to say something to her?
I think it's fine.
So you have to take three of these. These are your parent forms, and then you have to start building on these. You've seen work of other students, no?
Yes, ma'am.
You see how they are developing forms?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'll show for Kashmir also.
Kashmir is present in the meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Kashmir, you've not done any further explorations?
Ma'am, I did the other exploration as you asked me to explore more upon the word yesterday.
No, yesterday I had selected one. Which one was that?
Ma'am, you asked me to further explore because it.
No, but at the same time, the third one in first column, I'd asked you to explore this further, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Then what happened? I don't
Ma'am,
see
I
it.
thought I explored more of those. Mm, you
You are
guys.
already lagging behind, and when something is being told to you, you're not following it. Very disappointing. Already lagged. The class is far ahead of you.
Yes, ma'am. I explored well more which are down.
For humorous.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then you tell us and Nandini ma'am, tell me and Nandini ma'am, which one do you think is humorous and why?
I think the first and second one, I think, because it's more of a comic form.
What about can we see this entire sheet together as in your earlier options and the new ones? Slightly,
Yes, ma'am.
just can you just zoom in a little? Yeah, stay here, stay here. Stay, no, don't hide anything, just stay here. There is another one, in your earlier exploration, in the first column, last one,
Yes, ma'am.
that also has some possibilities.
Yes, ma'am. The music card.
Which one am I referring to? Can you mark? Can you give me rights to annotate? This I'm saying, and this I had already told you yesterday.
Yes,
Nandina,
ma'am.
would you like to help us? Her trait is humorous.
So I think the first two have more potential than these two that she's marked, the ones you marked in red.
Okay.
Because they have that feeling of humor and laughter springing up, this first one. And this also has formally has potential. in these new ones. I think those two could be done more. Maybe this one, but it's still at a very initial stage.
Which one, ma'am?
This first row in the later done ones, second one, but it's too initial.
This one, no?
Yeah,
Okay. So, ma'am, what she can do is that these three mountain red she can take as master forms
yeah,
and different forms, and then she should start developing them further. Like, for example, in the first, the earlier ones, the first column, third option, here she can start, trying some different. Kinds of S's. She can also take help of existing typefaces and take the S from some existing typeface and start developing the same idea but some other different looking letter form. You could also create something on your own, but if you're not getting the proportions right, then you can take from an existing typeface and take the S from there, make that your foundation and start developing it. Okay, and this applies to all three. This applies to all three ideas of yours. Use them as letter forms, try in different stroke weights or try in different weights of the letters. Increase and decrease. I mean, size contrast might also add some humor here. Size contrast, okay, can also add some humor here. Or in the second, first row, first column, the last option. There are these circles at the ends of S. These circle sizes may vary. Okay, if they vary, they will create some kind of light and humor. So these are the things that you have to now try. So take this as your master form and then start building on it.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
it would be a good idea if you start with the existing letter form and then start doing modifications if you want on them so that the basic form structure is correct, you know. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
some form as a base and then start modifying on it whatever variations you want to do.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Do you think I'm marking another one? Do you think this may have potential?
Which one are you marking?
I just marked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it has a very interesting contrast.
Yeah. So that is adding a bit of a humor here, I thought, because of the contrast. You can try these four, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Start building on these now, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Next person. But by the end of the day, you should have a lot of explorations.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, my name is Ankit. Ma'am, can you see my screen?
No, not now. Earlier I could.
Ma'am, now?
Yes, I can see now.
Yes, ma'am. My partner was Ankit Kumar. So I showed you on this explorations and you selected some of them. Then I refined them. Um, huh. Then I refined three of them. These are the my characteristics is reserved. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you go up? Go up. This you haven't explored.
No, ma'am.
Is this not an original idea?
Yes, ma'am. But I thought ki, this is not looking like reserved for me at least. Uh,
Why?
मैम जैसे दूसरे में मतलब वो मतलब कॉन्ट्रास्ट दिख रहा है कि ब्लैक के अंदर वो वाइट है, तो इसमें वो उल्टा लग रहा था, तो पता नहीं चल रहा है कि वो रिजर्व्ड है, इसलिए
जब
मैंने
तक उस इस फॉर्म को आप एक्सप्लोर नहीं करोगे इतना, तो आपको नहीं पता चलेगा। आप एक्सप्लोर तो करो। एज अ फॉर्म दिस इज वेरी वेल बैलेंस्ड। कभी कभी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक नहीं दिख रहा, बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स के काम में नहीं दिख रहा, लेकिन जस्ट बिकॉज इट्स एन इंटरेस्टिंग आइडिया, सो दे आर एक्सप्लोरिंग इट. Just to understand, if you make some small subtle changes, how visually it starts to look different. Just to understand those nuances. तो
ओके
इसको एक्सप्लोर जरूर करो. आप फाइनल नहीं करेंगे अगर आपको कन्विंसिंग नहीं लग रहा तो, लेकिन आप एक्सप्लोर जरूर करो
ओके
उसको.
ठीक है मैम.
ठीक
ओके
है, अब आप नीचे जाते हैं.
No, I just like to add. In fact, this does show the reserved characteristic because the K is kind of receding into the A.
Exactly.
So when someone is reserved, they somebody else stands out, and the person who's reserved goes into the background. So if you think of it that way, maybe you will be able to explore this further and get some very interesting forms from it. I agree that this one does have a lot of potential.
ओके मैम, आई एक्सप्लोर दैम.
ठीक है, नीचे कैन यू गो डाउन. ओके. अच्छा, अभी अब आप ही बताओगे कि कौन सा आपने आपको कौन सा
मैम ये
आगे लेके जाना है
हाँ
और
मेरे.
क्यों. बोथ द थिंग्स, व्हाई आल्सो यू हैव टू टेल मी
ओके मैम.
एंड
दिस.
मार्क इट
हाँ यस मैम,
बिकॉज
मार्किंग इट. दिस वन मे बी दिस.
और
दिस
ये जरूर ध्यान में रखना द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ ए एंड के. आई मीन ए शुड बी रेड एज ए एंड के शुड बी रेड एज के.
ओके मैम.
मतलब at some level, even if it is slightly red, चलेगा. बट आई मस्ट टेल यू, आज आपने बहुत अच्छे एक्सप्लेनेशंस किए हैं. कल के
ओके.
कंपैरिजन में बहुत मतलब इट्स रियली मूव्ड अहेड.
हाँ मैम, मैम कल मैं दिखाना चाहता था बट वो प्रेजेंट नहीं था.
और कौन सा.
मे बी दिस वन
ओके.
and also even this one also I guess.
So अब रिजर्व जब हम कहते हैं तो व्हाट इज, हाउ वुड यू अकॉर्डिंग टू देम, अकॉर्डिंग टू यू व्हाट इज रिजर्व.
Like it is hiding behind the world, something like that. Like मैंने ज़्यादातर वही कंसेप्ट यूज किया है कि ए के पीछे के काइंड ऑफ रिजर्व होकर बैठा हुआ है.
अच्छा, जो रिजर्व लोग हैं वो उनको रिजर्व क्यों बोलते हैं.
क्योंकि वो लोग शाही है, क्वाइट रहते हैं, ज़्यादातर अपने वर्ल्ड में रहते हैं.
ओके.
Yes, mainly that.
तुम्हारा फॉर्म एक्सप्लेनेशन बहुत अच्छे हैं, मुझे इसमें से विजुअली बहुत कुछ अच्छा लग रहा है. ठीक है, आई टेल यू व्हिच वंस आई मार्क इट इन अ डिफरेंट कलर. विजुअली बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है. एक तो ये आपने मार्क किया ही सही. ठीक है, एक ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है विजुअली, है ना. ये भी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, ये भी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है. इसमें थोड़ा सा विजुअल वेट के पे ज्यादा आ रहा है जो लास्ट वाला इसमें, लेकिन वो मैनेज किया जा सकता है. ठीक है, लेकिन जिस तरह से आपने अपना, इससे पता चल रहा है कि आपका इमेजिनेशन बहुत अच्छा है. ठीक है. और यहाँ पे भी जो लास्ट रो में जो आपने सिंप्लिसिटी दिखाई है आपके थॉट प्रोसेस में, वो अभी फॉर्म अभी पूरे तरह से इवॉल्व नहीं हुआ, लेकिन जो सिंप्लिसिटी दिखा रहे हो आप, वो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है थॉट प्रोसेस में. तो मैं वो मार्क कर रही हूँ जो विजुअली जो फॉर्म्स बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहे हैं. अब दैट दिस रिमेन्स टू बी सीन कि वो रिजर्व इसमें से कौन सा रहेगा.
Okay.
Even this, if you do it design. Ma'am, what do you have to say?
There are a lot of very interesting forms. I find even the second one here little interesting, the negative positive together.
Okay, ma'am.
The third row, second one, yeah, that also. I mean, I like the contrast of the negative and the positive, which and the case spaces, the negative spaces. That also is interesting. I think he has a lot of potential to explore a lot of these forms.
Yeah, I really like today's exploration and ये अगर आप अंकित पहले ही कर लेते तो आप अभी तक तो बहुत आगे स्टेज पे पहुंच जाते क्या हुआ इतना स्लो क्यों हो गया काम
नहीं मैम, थोड़ा कंफ्यूज होके ना, मतलब थोड़ा ज़्यादा वो इनिशियल स्टेज में एक्सप्लोर कर रहा था, तो उसके बाद आप बोले सिलेक्ट करने तो उसमें आगे गया, तो वही था।
Okay. Okay. So, ma'am, I think I'll mark in a different color, which I think are still looking a little reserved. Like, for example, in this, the vertical stroke of K is not there. So it somewhere gives that feeling of, trying to keep some things to yourself. So it gives that feeling, and also the contrast of showing some and not showing everything is, and the letters are also being read as A and K. But Ankit, in this you'll have to see because it is a monogram. You'll have to see that, and this you will only be able to judge after taking a print. That if you reduce it, say to half an inch, one dimension to half an inch, is the are these diagonal strokes still visible? The thinner diagonal strokes. So this is something that you'll have to see. The visibility is important of these alphabets, even in smaller size.
Even
ओके
this
मैम।
space between the thin and thick strokes should fill up. Be careful with the space between the thin and the thick
हाँ
stroke.
ओके मैम।
Yeah, this will also merge if you reduce it. Okay, even this. So basically, what I see is the first and the second have some commonality. So one has evolved from the other,
हाँ यस मैम।
right?
यस मैम।
So I prefer the next one more, as in, yeah, the third one more because of the subtleness of K.
I think the third one is more evolved. Second
Yeah,
one looks like a process.
yeah, exactly. But अगर ये लाइन हटा दे यहाँ से तब क्या होगा वो भी एक ट्राई करके देखो
ओके मैम।
ठीक है और at some of these have started looking like M. Like for example, this is looking like M. This is
हाँ
also
मैम, वो
looking
मुझे भी
like
लग
M
रहा था।
instead of,
हाँ मैम।
sorry.
हाँ, मुझे भी लग रहा
तो
था।
हाँ तो वो वाले फिर हम कंफ्यूजन जो क्रिएट कर रहे हैं उनको फिर हम नहीं लेंगे है ना
यस मैम।
मैम मुझे तो ये भी अच्छे लग रहे हैं ये वाला जो है ना कहीं the subtlety of it is this.
Yes. Yes. The economy of form makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Even in the first row, third one, it's the economy of form which is making it very interesting. The contrast and
Yeah. So should and what about this? This is interesting as a form, very interesting. तो उसको उसको कहते हैं कि ये एज इट इज भी अच्छा अगर ओरिजिनल आइडिया है तो ठीक है
हाँ,
ये देखो अंकित ना अंकित कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ने ओरिजिनल आइडियाज नहीं किए थे ऑटोमेटिकली व्हेन आई टोल्ड देम yesterday that there will be plagiarism accepted in this class so they on their own they decided to drop those so अगर ये कहीं से भी अगर आपको आप डिसीजन लोगे वी आर ट्रस्टिंग यू अगर आपका ओरिजिनल आइडिया कहीं पे भी आपको लगता है इनमें से नहीं है वो आप अपने आप ड्रॉप कर देना डोंट गो अहेड विद इट
हाँ यस मैम
ठीक है
हाँ मैम
तो you have these three, four ideas. Now you start building on them. Some of them look absolutely resolved. Like this one looks absolutely resolved. But इसका जो बीच का जो गैप है K और A के बीच का गैप है वो आपको स्मॉलर साइज में प्रिंट लेके चेक करना पड़ेगा कि कहीं वो मर्ज तो नहीं हो रहा
हाँ ओके
Nandini ma'am, you want to add something? I give it to you.
So I think what you marked out and what you suggested, I think you should explore those as far as possible. That's enough for doing multiple explorations.
Even this is very nice, but अभी इतना bold type face लिया है ना तो वो feeling of reserve is not coming through.
Yeah, it's too bold.
तो इसको आप इसका weight change करके देखिए alphabets का. अंकित?
But so this you work on this little triangle sticking out, which is kind of creating problem. You know the second one, second row.
This no, this little triangle.
Yeah, that little triangle poking out is kind of making it messy.
ओके
So try and do as much clean forms as possible.
ओके मैम ठीक है
ठीक है? मैम लास्ट रो में कोई करना है? There are two that have marked.
No, I think let him explore these. If any one of these, if he wants to explore, if he has the time. But I think more exploration of these few ideas will yield more. You know, than trying too many. How much time do they have for the exploration?
So everybody has finished their explorations, and now they have to select one or two of those and just refine them because they have now done. They've reached a stage where they have evolved the forms. So now they have to just pick one and start refining the nuances, like managing the thickness of lines and testing if it is working in smaller size or not. So these students are at an initial stage.
No, then I think these four should be fine. Let him not do more. At least that's my feeling, and let him explore these maximum. These 4 or 5 that you marked out. Circle.
Yeah. Okay.
Anupriya, will you excuse me for about 10 minutes? I didn't know we were going to do class today. I have someone for some signatures.
Okay.
I'll just join back in 10 minutes, yeah?
Okay. Okay. Next student.
ओके मैम
Ma'am, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So my grade was different, and in all of these three, I'm trying to show that how the R is different from D and how the D is different from R. So that's what I try to show. Yes, ma'am.
डिफरेंट बहुत जेनेरिक टर्म हो गया बहुत जेनेरिक है ये तुमने पहले क्यों नहीं दिखाया आपने पहले नहीं दिखाया ना आप फर्स्ट टाइम दिखा रहे हो अपना काम
Yes, ma'am. मेरे दोस्त की शादी थी, मैंने आपको मेल किया था पहले.
डिफरेंट ट्रेड तो नहीं वर्क करेगा यू हैव टू चूज सम अदर ट्रेड एवरीबॉडी इज डिफरेंट आई एम डिफरेंट फ्रॉम यू सो हाउ डू वी डिफरेंट हम कर सकते हैं कॉन्ट्रास्ट दिखा के हम कर सकते हैं बट इट्स नॉट एन इंटरेस्टिंग ट्रेड टू वर्क ऑन
Okay. So, ma'am, what if I change it to unique?
हाँ यूनिक आप कर सकते हो बट यूनिक को आप कैसे दिखाओगे वो आपको एक्सप्लोर करना पड़ेगा अभी
Sure, ma'am, I'll do it.
और क्या ट्रेड्स है आपके पास
Ma'am, मैंने first it was simple and unique. perfect, yeah. So I will change it.
Asta,
He's also very creative.
who's the person?
Astha.
आस्था के लिए कर रहे हो आप? किसके
नहीं
लिए
मैं
कर
कर
रहे
रही हूँ रुद्र के लिए, रुद्र के लिए कर रही हूँ, आई एम आस्था.
हो? ओके.
So he is also creative, so I can change it to creative.
What else?
He is kind. He is also very shy. Um, he likes to keep things to himself also, and yeah, he's a nice friend.
I'm just thinking that आप different, unique, shy आप फिर भी कोशिश कर सकते हो. अगर आप shy word लेते हो, तो shy को आप फिर भी try कर सकते हो. Visually interesting, represent. I think you will be able to do interesting things visually with the word shy. But different, everything is different. I mean, how do we? It's not. It's a trait that I mean, every monogram that you would see probably would at some level be communicating different, because there are we are taking the initials of the names of the students. So maybe the treatment of R and D is different, or maybe the contrast is there. So all this also somewhere is communicating different. No, so maybe all monograms at some level, which are an outcome of the class assignment, are all communicating different. They may. So how
Yes,
do you
ma'am.
take a trait which is which gives us some interesting visual cues?
Yes, ma'am. I will work on creative then, or shy.
For shy, I think if you would work on shy, it would give you some more scope of to show your potential and your creativity as well.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to start over. इनमें से कोई आपको लगता है कि जो शाय कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है, आपको लग रहा है ऐसा?
इनमें से I think the fifth one on first row, in which the D is hiding behind R, because the R is very bold type and D is hide, like it can be showed that it is hiding behind it, so like it is shy, but
See, it can also be read as P and D.
P and D.
Yeah. So you're saying it is R and D, but it can also be read as P and D.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. I will explore more on shy.
Because to some extent, what I feel is that maybe I'm requesting for access of
Yes, ma'am. I will.
yeah. Yeah. So maybe somewhere this may be shy. But इसमें क्या हो रहा है? What is happening is the letter forms that you have chosen, the R and D. These have been drawn by you without and see, one is doing some creative lettering work. Okay, this is drawn traditionally, but you have not kept to the traditional proportions.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
you need to do is you need to refer to some existing letter forms, and then take those as a base and start building on that. So take an R, which is of an existing typeface, and so that you get the proportions correct, take a D, again similarly, which is an existing typeface, उसमें से D लो, और उसके साथ में ये चीजें ये try करके देखो. So try to develop this idea further for shy.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
So yeah, do that, and you need to come up with more ideas.
Yes, ma'am. I will surely do that.
Yeah. Next person.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, it's mine, Seal Patel. The trait is confused. Krina, can you zoom in the last two rows? So the monogram is G and S. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. Okay. So this was the master, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, yesterday what I thought that this form has possibilities. I clearly see that the confusion as well as the letter forms clearly emerging from this initial first composition. So I'll just look at some where the G and S. Okay. So here I see the G and S, the confusion as well as the letter forms also clearly getting visible. But visually this needs work. This one needs some more work. Right? And here also, uh, see, so in this the S is quite interesting. Right. Now, if you were to say join this and this, what happens? And join this and this, then what happens? Okay, so this also needs further work. Both of these need further work now. Okay. So what you will do is now make these as your base. Okay. And like for example, this is your in the second one, this one, if you were to say remove this part, then what happens? ओके नीचे उसको एक्सटेंडेड रहने दो एक में इसको हटा दो if this thickness and this thickness was equal then what happens if this thickness and this thickness is equal then what happens if this entire is तुम ग्राफ पेपर है तुम्हारे पास
Yes, ma'am.
ये इजीली ग्राफ पेपर में तुम बहुत अच्छे से खूब सारे ऑप्शंस इसके बना सकते हो और फिर उसको A4 पे ट्रेस करके इंक मत करो आई डोंट वांट यू टू इंक दिस डू ओनली इन पेंसिल ओके ओके नाउ समझ रहे हो ना तो ये मास्टर पेरेंट फॉर्म हुआ आपका ये दोनों अलग अलग इस पेरेंट फॉर्म को कैसे आप फर्दर डेवलप करोगे कुछ कुछ थोड़े थोड़े छोटे छोटे वेरिएशंस करके जैसे कहीं पे एस की लेंथ आपने छोटी की यहाँ पे जैसे मैंने आपको पॉइंट आउट किया सॉरी यहाँ पे छोटा किया देन व्हाट हैपेंस एस का डिस्टेंस जो है इफ एस मूव्स अ लिटिल टुवर्ड्स दिस साइड द लेफ्ट कॉर्नर then what happens right so try some of these variations in both of these the second and third
Yes, ma'am.
understand me
Yes, ma'am.
yeah now zoom out ऊपर वाला भी दिखाओ
It was my earlier one.
yeah just stay here I need to see if there is any other idea that you can use So just need to ask you one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Give me the right to annotate here. ये जो है, this one, is this your original idea?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the name of the person starts with the S or G?
G.
G?
Yes.
So can you zoom into this form, please? Yeah. The form, the first one. This. Yeah. Yeah. So now in this, this is an interesting idea. And what you could do is, like for example, these gaps are too little, right? These gaps are too little, so increase those gaps. Get rid of this line inside. This line inside. Getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Should I explain again?
So, ma'am, I got it.
Explain again? Yeah. Then the thickness, this thickness, it just becomes equal. All these thicknesses become equal. Then what happens? Right? So develop this also further. So now you have three parent forms, right?
Yes.
You have three parent form. And whatever that you are word that you selected, make sure that that one paragraph that you written has to describe how this chosen characteristics aligns with this person's behavior. So basically, whatever that you're writing is that one paragraph has to give you some visual cues. So choosing that one characteristic which is confusion. Okay, how does this person represent confusion? Generally, what's your name? Dear. Generally, I do not allow students to choose characteristics which have any sort of negative connotation. Because whenever we are doing identities and identity design for a person or a company, we generally try to showcase positive characteristics. Confusion to some extent it is towards inclined towards a negative trait. Clarity, on the other hand, is a positive trait. So generally, I don't allow that. But since you have explored and reached this stage, I am asking you to go ahead with it. Okay, so these are three which I have selected, and you should also be able to articulate why this represents confusion. So इसमें जो आपने ये try किया, this is interesting. Okay, so ये जो है, this is interesting. Here the S is of the same thickness, but you have to make sure that these gaps are equal. These gaps, whichever gaps are there, they're equal gaps. Okay, so explore these forms more. Is that okay? Can we move to the next person? Okay, the next person, please. Sorry? What is the idea?
Self-trusting.
Sorry, come again. वापस बताओ, नहीं सुनाई दिया मुझे, आप क्या बोल रहे हो?
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Now I can, yes. What is the trait that you've selected? That's my question. What is the trait?
That's self-sufficient.
Okay. What according to you is self-sufficient?
Like she is dependent on herself.
She is dependent on herself.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What was the feedback given to you yesterday?
Ma'am, I was not able to show mine because of the internet issues.
Okay, like can I see the entire board together, console board together? Can I see your earlier explorations also? What was the feedback given on the first steps?
First day, ma'am, you told me to explore. You chose some of the exploration and you told me to visit that. And after that, you told me in second time I when I show you, you told me to fill that like in like with pencil.
I can't hear you clearly. Jane, hold the mic closer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
and like second time you gave me feedback that I have to fill the like don't have to do only lines, fill it with pencils, and you chose some of them and told me to do work on that.
So you have not done what you were asked to do. I clearly remember. See, when give me the rights to annotate who's holding who has the control of the concept board. So many requests have given. Please be attentive. See, I asked you to explore this further. So this becomes your master, and I asked you to explore it further, right? You remember that or no?
Ma'am, you chose three of them.
Which three? Mark them.
Uh, Karina, can you mark second in the first line?
I could not have done that. I'm sure Krina would have done it. I could not have done that at all. Krina, I'm sure Krina Prajapati would have pointed out that, but not me.
Okay, ma'am. And last in the second line. Last and also the first line, last one.
Okay. So now I'm giving you very specific feedback, Zee. I want you to pay attention. Okay. When I said that you have to fill these were some good ideas. So you are again showing me the ideas in line work. You should have filled these and shown this today.
Ma'am, I have, okay, you want me to fill that only.
Fill that, at least fill that so that we can help you select further.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so clearly there were some good ideas. I told you not to present these kind of skeleton ideas. You should be very clear that which, like whether the Z will be filled or the P will be filled or both will be filled. This is something that I very clearly told you the other day also, but you've not done it. Maybe you did not understand. If you're not understanding, please seek clarity. After so many days getting wasted, you're still at the same stage.
Okay, ma'am.
So first fill all of these, and then we'll see which ones can be taken ahead. Because I see a lot of these working as self-sufficient.
Yes, ma'am.
Because what is happening is there is a continuity here. Like for example, this is going like this and this, which means that there is a continuous line. There is some kind of connectivity between Z and P, and that continuity somewhere is telling you that yeah, this person is very happy and contained.
Yes, ma'am.
I also told you to take some backgrounds and restricted the forms in background, which you tried here in your last row. Remember?
Yes, ma'am.
But this is not working.
Yes, ma'am.
Why this is not working? Because see the background that you've chosen and the Z and P in the negative space has to yeah, well,
Sorry, ma'am. Continue.
it's not interacting.
Yes, ma'am. And it also has too many shapes, I think. Like
Too many,
triangle.
yeah, it's creating a confusion.
Yes, ma'am.
So for me, this is an interesting composition to develop. This and this is more or less the same. This, and this.
Yes, ma'am. I would just write curves and try to
Yeah.
answer.
So when you're trying something with the master form, let them all be in one row. Don't scatter them. It creates a lot of confusion. So first of all, you rearrange your concept board and again show this at the end of the this session.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and if you get time, quickly fill these up and reload it, upload it on the concept board.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Okay, and come back again for discussion. Next person.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you just hold on for a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
Nandini ma'am, could you start with Prachi? I just need to take a break for a minute.
Yeah, sure, sure. Prachi,
So, ma'am. Yes,
explain what
ma'am.
you've been doing. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So my characteristic that I chose is consistency, and the letters are A and D. So these were some of the earlier explorations, probably from 3 days. But after discussions with ma'am, I did these yesterday. Yeah.
Okay. So these are the three that you're working on, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And consistency is your characteristic, you said,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Now, what do you feel are the strongest of these explorations? Would you like to explain and why, or interesting ones?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'll just mark. Okay. So, ma'am, this one, this one. Yes, ma'am. So the ones that I have marked, I think even though the lines are not completely joined to each other, even then the tiny bit of closure is forming that flow and consistency and uniformity. So yeah, I think that's common in most of the forms. And I've tried various line weights and I've tried to shade various parts of the same form. So I think that thing is common in all the forms.
Okay. I think this first, second, third, fourth, fifth one in the first row
Yes, ma'am.
is interesting. I like the diagonal cuts that you've done because they add a little characteristic to the whole form.
Okay, ma'am.
This one is interesting, but the lines still look not connected to your A and D. So you need to make those lines in some way. I don't mean a physical connection,
Oh, ma'am,
but
sorry, which one?
pardon?
Sorry, which one are you talking about?
I'm talking of the one next to it, where
Okay.
you small four lines in the corners.
Yes, ma'am.
You would need to uh, actually, just like, sorry, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth you've done, and then the sixth, seventh, eighth. Eighth one is also very similar to the, except that this is triangular and
Yes.
it's part of the same exploration, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
The one you've selected is much stronger because it has that nice 3D kind of effect.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
In this one, if you want to explore it, just now they look like little bits added. Just small lines with the contrast level is a bit too high. So can you in some way work to connect the forms?
Yes, ma'am. I could increase the length of the smaller ones.
Also try the length, thickness, I don't know. And I find actually in the second row, both your third, fourth, and fifth interesting. Potential is there. But in the third one, that little stroke is the A and D are a little lost. Can you make them a little more
Defined, yes.
and this stroke can't be one little point hanging in the air with no connection with anything.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay.
In the last, I think I'm not very. These haven't evolved into something still interesting.
Yes, ma'am. The last parent form, right? Yes. Yes.
Yes, I think Kanupriya ma'am may add to what I've just.
Okay. So I agree with Nandini ma'am. This is very interesting. So is this, right? In this one, can you see my annotation?
Yes, ma'am. I can.
One, two, three, four, fifth in the first row.
Yes.
What you need to do is you need to reduce the gap between A and B and see what happens. Okay?
Okay.
These angles have to be consistent. These
Yes.
angles have to be consistent. So now you will construct. Now you will construct. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
This inside space should become a perfect square.
Yes, ma'am.
The outside should also be perfect squares, and these lines should be of equal thickness.
Okay. Yes.
You will also have to reduce it to half an inch, one dimension, half an inch, and see whether it is working in smaller size or not.
Okay.
Take
Yes,
a
ma'am.
print. This judgment cannot happen on screen. Take a print and see.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Now, another thing is that uh, create a square grid for this.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what I'm saying? Create a square grid. So basically, you will construct one square and then you construct second and third, and then start thickening those lines. Okay, and eliminating some parts of it, like you slice some parts of it. So that has to be done with proper measurements now.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Even the D that you're making, the D that you're making, the bottom part is based on should be based on the square grid. Even the top part should be based on the same square grid, which means the center of D
Yes.
should only go as high as the height of the second square.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Got it.
So if you construct your logo, then the balance will be right.